Hi, everyone, and welcome to the 12th episode of the World of Work podcast. In today's episode, we spoke to Jayson George, who is an LLB graduate from the University of Cape Town, and he is currently working at Bowmans as an associate. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and that you learned something from it. Hi, Jayson, how are you?
Hello, Trivia. Good, thanks. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. So, Jayson did a Bachelor of Laws degree at UCT and he graduated in 2019. And then he went on to become a candidate attorney at Bowmans and is now an associate at Bowmans. How's your time at Bowmans been?
No, it's been good. Thanks. Yeah, it's been a good time. I'm still having fun. I always say like I still enjoy getting out of bed in the morning, so that's a good sign. No, it's been great.
Okay, that's amazing. And I can, like, you're the first person that I'm interviewing that actually studied law and that's in the law field. So this is really exciting. Can I ask why you decided to study law?
Yeah, sure. So I decided to study law because we had a bit of an incident with the law when I was a bit younger, in the family, and so I was always curious about the law. And so I decided at a very young age that I wanted to study law and wanted to be a lawyer. I knew law enforcement wasn't it for me, so I didn't want to do that side of the law. But I mean, as I grew, I had people. I was blessed enough to have people that could guide me, to where I am today. So was exposed to various facets of the law as I was, coming through progressing through school, through high school in particular. Did a lot of job shadowing, and it kind of firmed up my decision to want to become a lawyer. And so yeah, that's pretty much how I made the decision. Never really wanted to be a commercial lawyer. I wanted to do criminal law because of my family's encounter with the law. It was from a criminal law perspective, but as you get exposed to things, you tend to then shift your interests. And then while I was in law school, I actually shifted to wanting to become a commercial lawyer. So yeah, that's pretty much how I ended up where I am today.
Wow. So I can see like in 2013 you were an administrative assistant at J.E. Feely's Attorneys, and then you also
Yeah.
job shadowed at ENS and did a
Yeah.
little bit of back work. What made you decide to end up at Bowman's and not the other law firms that you had previously worked at?
Yeah, I mean, so I think the and for me it was in 2013, 2014, I was still in high school. So that was grade 11, grade 12 for me. And then so I was part of a study group at the time in my community called AK Snapshot Study Group. And so the administrator of the study group, took me for job shadowing to these law firms after he found out that I'm interested in studying law. And so, the first stint was, as you say, at J.E. Phillies. And, and I remember it was quite a daunting experience, stepping into this, it's a relatively small firm. It's like a one-man show. Stepping into his office and then, sitting in and listening in on conversations and, attending court with him. And it was quite daunting, but and then then in matric going to ENS, shadowing some of their attorneys, and obviously not realizing how big ENS was at the time, and later discovered that hey, it's actually quite a big firm, very important people working here. But I mean, for me, it was all about where I felt I belong at the time. While I was studying, I did VAC work at ENS as well in my first year of art, in my first year of studies. And then in my second year, did VAC work at Bowmans, but I didn't. That was before I signed with ENS because I was quite young. I was in first year, and I had a chat with the HR, the talent team at ENS at the time. And they were like, "Look, you're still quite young. You just got out of high school. It's your first year in LLB, and I'm competing with people that they have master's degrees and they're in their third and final year, and I'm like, what in the world?" And so, transitioning from that job shadowing to now actually competing for a space at ENS, was quite hectic. And they were nice enough to chat to me, like, "Look, we're not going to interview you now. We'll interview you next year." and you have a bit more, of the LLB curriculum under the belt and can answer some questions. And I mean, I'm actually grateful for that, because I also wasn't disappointed at the time. And I kind of had this prospect of, I still have this opportunity with ENS. And then in second year, I did VAC work at Bowmans and actually felt like this is the place for me, and, sign with Bowmans. Funny enough, just after I signed with Bowmans, I got a call from ENS, to come and do the interview that was promised. And, by then I already made up my mind, and, I had to politely decline the offer. And yeah, and I haven't looked back since. So that's kind of how I ended up at Bowman's. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised that you were basically like headhunted from all these firms, because I can see like in high school you were like scholar, head boy, and then again in like uni progressing, doing really, really well. Can you talk us through that? Where does your motivation come from?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, when I look at those things, I mean, we're all trying to, we should constantly be trying to improve ourselves. And I think, that's very important, constantly trying to, chip away at our goals, and, hone our skills and develop our leadership potential and abilities, and also our technical crafts, so constantly, developing that. And so after I knew what I wanted to do, and I knew, after being exposed to, various firms that you mentioned earlier, and knowing what it takes to get there, to end up there, I knew when I did the ENS job shadowing that this is the kind of law I want to do. I want to do this big law type of thing, So and many people that were there at the time told me what it takes. You have to be academically strong. Don't just focus on academics, but also, work on your CV. Make sure that you are part of like societies, committees at school. Vying for things like head boy, and being part of the debating society. And so just building your soft skills, as much as your technical abilities are important, you should also build your soft skills, because a lot of law, of a career in law, is to do with, working and interacting with people. And so that was part of the decision. And obviously I had mentors at the time that also nudged me into the right direction to tell me, become part of this, do this, teachers that looked out for me at school. And I kind of just took everything, on my plate. And that's what you would see then on LinkedIn. And when I would submit my CV, is kind of a combination of all of that. And I've always been very curious, and I think it's largely to do with FOMO. I just don't want to, I like things, I like things. I don't like missing out. So I kind of found myself everywhere in high school and in university. So yeah, that was kind of what drove me, the knowing what it would take for me to then apply to university like UCT, and to get into a decent university, and to get into, decent employment after school and after university. So it was just constantly chipping away and, crafting my CV and making it look nice, because I think the competition is quite it's hectic out there, and so you want to constantly separate yourself, from your peers and from others. So yeah, the more you can conquer, the better. So that was kind of the motivation behind that.
That's amazing. And I can see like also you've started like right now you're the chairperson of Change Agents, and you just do a lot to support different communities. Like you're a catalyst for change. You empower a lot of young people, especially those less fortunate than you are. You're the founder of Aspiration Inspiration, which is established to share the stories of successful people from the Cape Flats. Where do you get the time to like how do you balance everything together? Like where do you get the time to do well at work, like you said, constantly improve yourself at work, and then
Yeah.
also still inspire people, also still give back, also still make the time to just do all the other things that you want to do?
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting one. And it's a difficult one to answer, because I think these things, once you commit to something, you kind of just have to make time for things, and you have to shift things around. And I think the key, especially when you're working at a an institution like Bowman's, is communication with the people that you need to do work for. So in all of those roles where I find myself, it's about communicating to those people, what my commitments are elsewhere. So that when things are clashing, and when I need to be somewhere or attend something, that there are open lines of communication so that I can manage. I also have a very good support structure at home, with the wife and now baby, and my family, the broader family. They're very supportive, and they understand kind of where I find myself in all of these roles. And so I have to balance all of that, being the husband, being the father, being the family person, then also being the lawyer. I love being involved in the church. I have commitments there as a Christian. And so, and that is also part of the motivation for the community improvement projects that I'm part of, giving back to society and offering people hope. And and I think that there's that added blessing from God, just to give me the time and the energy to be able to do these things. So I don't take that for granted at all. But yeah, as when it comes to the people in my life as well, I mean, I'm just blessed to have them, that are people that are understanding. And as I say, you have to communicate. And if things become too much, if you're taking on too much, you have to realize and be self-aware that, hey, listen, I'm taking. And I know that's difficult, because and I mean, even for me personally, like, it's difficult because I like things, like I said, I like being involved in stuff. So, sometimes you have to just get a reality check, and, have honest people around you that will tell you, hey, listen, aren't you taking on too much? Or, don't you want to reconsider? And, or bouncing ideas off people, and be like, look, what do you think? Should I get involved with that? And I have the benefit of having those kinds of people in my life as well. People that will tell me, like, nah, dude, like, check your intentions here. What are your motives with getting involved here? What are you trying to achieve? How does this align with, your Christianity? How does this align with your career? How does this align with your family values? And so you're constantly having that conversation before you get involved in things. But yeah, but all of those things are very near and dear to me that you mentioned.
That's amazing. And I just want to go back to like your time at university at UCT.
Hmm.
So you were a subwarden, you were in the Law Students Council, and orientation leader, and you just you did a lot, at your time there. What advice would you give to current students who are studying LLB?
Yeah, do a lot. You don't have to do everything I did. You don't have to find yourself on all of these committees and stuff. But let me put it this way: the person, do something apart from academics. Academics are very important. Academics is what's going to get you your foot into the door. It's going to be, we're going to see, Jayson got 90% in everything, but Shlubi, she got 85 or 80 or 70%, but she's done all of these things. Jayson's probably a person that's maybe socially, is a bit socially complex, or he doesn't engage well with people. So and we need to engage well with our clients. So they're gonna then look the Shlubi and be like, hey, like, look at this CV, this person, these roles all required engagement with people, managing different expectations, working on soft skills. You have the ability to network, so you'll be able to bring in clients. You have the ability, you're just a nice person, and you can tell that from a CV. The person that's scoring high in academics and has, nothing else to show for it, you can tell from their CV, what kind of person they are, personality they are. And so my advice would then be for people to get involved, develop your soft skills. Those are the skills that will carry you in your employment or your career after school. Technical ability can be taught, right? You can teach someone the law. That's why you are studying the law at law school. But networking is something that you need to develop over time. The ability just to engage with people, and how you relate to people, that you're gonna have to, build separately from what law school teaches you. The other nice thing that law school also teaches you that you should take cognizance of is the fact that you have to manage the different deadlines across different, courses. And I know people, and I was there, where we complain, where we have 5 assignments due at the same time. It's almost like the lecturers are in cahoots with one another, and no one cares about, they think we are doing their course is the only course that we're doing. And those things, that skill of managing your time, managing different expectations, is something that will stand you in good stead in practice. So the earlier you learn that, the better. So see it like that when you have, multiple things due at the same time. When you're in practice, you're going to do work for 3, 4, 5 different people at the same time. And we might all say something is due on that day. And you need to then communicate to us, look, this is when, I can deliver these things. And, so you see, soft skills become very important. So you might be able to do the task, but it can be very frustrating for someone that you're working with when you're just sitting there in a corner. You're not asking questions, you're not engaging, you're not communicating what your capacity is like. And those are all things that you learn. Time management, managing expectations, managing people, networking with people. Those are all things that you learn on societies. You learn them while you are, involved in something as simple as asking questions in the classroom, engaging with your lecturers, engaging with your peers in the lecture hall, right? So those things are what you develop at law school. And so take hold of that opportunity. It is there. And then it's smooth sailing almost when you come into practice, because the most difficult adjustment between law school and practice is not necessarily the law, because like I say, at a firm like Bowmans, you're gonna get a lot of training. You're gonna get training from the moment you walk in by the door for the first 6 months of your articles. You're just gonna be in training, because everyone assumes you know nothing. So you can come with 90% average and have done everything. We're gonna assume you know nothing, and you come in here and it's just training. And the thing that's going to get you through that, and while you're training, you need to work, right? So you still need to send emails, you still need to do your file management, you still need to manage your clients, you still need to manage everyone. The thing that gets you through that, that's the soft skills, right? It's not going to be the fact that you got 90% in Comtrans or in contract law or whatever law. It's the fact that you've learned all these other soft skills on the societies and the engagement. And it doesn't have to be at university, it can extend beyond university. So it's just about getting involved and doing as much as you can to develop those soft skills.
And what do you think people can do to set themselves apart in order to, land jobs at Bowmans and ENS and all these amazing law firms?
Yeah, good one. Yeah, I think academics will get you into the door. So good academics is first and foremost what we tend to look at. And I do work quite closely with our grad recruitment team when it comes to talent recruitment or grad recruitment from universities, and I kind of see the people that we do get through the door at the moment, and everyone's good academically. So you can bet your bottom dollar that everyone that you're going to be seeing here when you come, or that are going to send in an application, they're going to be academically strong. So the thing that's going to set you apart is going to be what involvement do you have in terms of in your community? What are you doing outside of your academics? What interests do you have? Do you like reading? Why? Like, you have to read widely, right? You can't just be reading law books. Law is more than just that. So you have to understand the needs of clients beyond just the legal technical aspect. So for that, you got to read widely. Find yourself, what are your hobbies? Like at Bowmans, people, you'll be surprised when you see the kinds of people that are here, like people that are, professional musicians. Some of us do, personally, I do martial arts, right? Some of us, we're all black belts. We do training, we're instructors, right? Apart from what we do at Bowmans, we sit on all of these other boards and committees, right? So those are the things that you kind of have to mirror what you're going to be doing here. Kind of have to mirror that at university already, So yes, at Bowmans, I'm a lawyer and I do the technical stuff, but I'm also, I organize sports days. I work with the grad team. I sit on various committees, So at university, you are studying the LLB, but you're also part of the LSC. You are subordinate. You arrange certain things for local or whatever, whatever you're engaged with on campus, or you're part of a soup kitchen in your community. People, we can see then that you care, beyond just the technical stuff. You are a personable person. You won't be afraid to communicate with people. If we take you to a client lunch, you're not just going to sit there and shy away, and you're going to engage with the client. You're going to you're going to have something to talk about. And I know sometimes it's skewed in favor of a certain group of people because, some of us, sometimes we haven't traveled, so we can't talk about, I went to Europe in summer, or I went to, follow summer one. We can't speak about those things. Or, our parents do not necessarily at the dinner table speak about the business day. Some of us, not all of us, have those opportunities. And so, if you didn't, like I didn't, if you didn't have that growing up, do that for yourself. Pick up the business day at least once before you graduate, or a few times before you graduate, right? See what's in there, because those are the kinds of transactions where Bowmans we'll find ourselves on the cover of the business day. You're gonna have to see what's Bowmans getting involved with, and that's how you're gonna separate yourself, because you're interested, you're curious. And so, yeah, man, like there are a lot of things that, don't make excuses. I mean, I could have used that as an excuse. Like, yeah, but my parents didn't read the business day to me as a bedtime story or whatnot. It's fine. Okay. So that's okay. You can read the business day now. You're going to a nice law school. And so you have the ability to read. And so, do that for yourself. So yeah, that would be my advice, kind of in a nutshell, to set yourself apart.
Yeah. And what advice would you give to students who are starting their law journey next year, like graduating now or
Yeah.
at the end of next year, and starting their
Mm.
candidate attorney journey?
Yeah, I think, go in with an open mind. Go in with an open mind. You are a sponge. You try and absorb as much as you can. Ask a lot of questions. I know people always say it, and it's a cliche, but there is no such thing as a stupid question, because, like I said earlier, we assume that you don't know anything. So, it's and the thing that we notice often in practice is we see that there's a disconnect between what people learn in law school and what is done in practice, right? And so sometimes people will learn about, some, like, particular to us, for example, Section 44, Section 45, financial assistance in the Companies Act, right? And people read that, and they read the sections, and they can answer an exam question about it. But now we say draft the resolution. Now they've never drafted the resolution. Or we say draft an email of advice to client. You've never drafted an advice email to client, right? The most daunting thing that you will find yourself, like, doing will be drafting an email or writing an email to a client. You think that is easy, just acknowledging receipt can be the most daunting thing, right? Because you're dealing with CEOs, you're dealing with CFOs, you're dealing with the heads of treasuries, and that's again why the networking and the being, a personable person becomes important. Because you're dealing with all of these very senior people, and you feel like you're just it's like you're a baby again. You're restarting. And so, yeah, my advice would be that just go in with an open mind, ask a lot of questions, be a sponge, take in as much as you can, be teachable, be humble. The worst thing that the worst candidates are those that think they know everything. And the thing is, people are going to then set you up for failure because you think you know everything. So we're going to be like, okay, cool, do your thing. And then someone's going to take the red pen and be like, well, you missed this, you missed that, you missed this. Why didn't you think about that? Now, you're going to need to be broken down before you are built up. Whereas if you came in clean slate, we can build nicely, so now we don't have to break down anything. And that's not our intention. It's never our intention to break people down. That should never be anyone's intention. But sometimes people come in and they have, this chip on their shoulder. I got straight A's in high school. I got 90% in university. I did this and that and that. And so now no one can teach me anything about the law. And then you have your first practical experience. So come in with that open mind, be humble, be teachable. And yeah, man, find people, that will support you. Get a mentor as early as you possibly can. Someone in law school right now that can look out for you, that can provide references for you. Get you a mentor as soon as you get into the firm, someone that can back you in the rooms where other people will be talking about candidates, where you cannot necessarily back yourself. Find yourself those people. Some people will say, yeah, you're trying to, you're trying to suck up to people. You're not sucking up to, you're building your network. Find the people that will be able to speak and voice and say your name in rooms where you cannot necessarily voice your own name or say your own name. So gravitate towards those people. You don't have to, sing their praises every single time, but just make sure that they know your name. So that they can say, oh yeah, wow, like, oh, you're talking about Jayson. Yeah, I know Jayson, he's quite a good kind of, we can do this, or he's good at this, or he comes from here, because people bond on the weirdest things in practice, right? It's high, from your high school to, what rugby team or soccer team do you support? What are you in? Did you go for a hike this weekend? What's your favorite trail? What's the last movie you watched? So those things become very important for, when it comes to opening doors, because then someone remembers that, oh, Jayson was the last person I spoke to about this movie. And, he seems like a cool guy. Let's just involve him and see, so that gets you into the door. They don't even know if you can do the work or not. They just know you're a nice guy and we want to work with this person because he watches rugby on a Saturday morning early, or, something like that. So yeah, man, find those people. And yeah, just you don't have to change yourself. Just be you. We spoke about the Christianity and faith earlier. I didn't have to change myself to be in the circles that I find myself today. People respect that. We can see very quickly who's the guy that wants to fit in everywhere and who's fake, and we can see who's the genuine person. So yeah, and you don't have to trample on people to get where you want to be. You don't have to take from someone else to get what you need to get out of something. So yeah, just play nice. So that's kind of, I know that's a mouthful, but I hope that's helpful to someone.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. And lastly, I just want to go back to when we're talking about your positions, like you, the founder of Aspiration Inspiration, and you're also the chairperson of Change Agent South Africa. Can we just can you just go through that for us and like your positions and what you do? Just yeah, just to inspire more people to, maybe join or start their own initiatives.
Cool. Yeah, so I'll start with Aspiration Inspiration. So that's a podcast that I started during the lockdown in 2020. And because of my story and people, there are more people like myself on the Cape Flats, me being from Mitchells Plain on the Cape Flats. There are people that are, Mitchells Plain has that stigma attached to it, and people assume that you are a gangster or you abuse drugs or whatever. You're not going to end up anywhere successful, or whatever your definition of success is. But so I took it upon myself to then find other people like Jayson George on the Cape Flats, or people that have done greater things than me, even that's doing something good on the Cape Flats, and for them to share their story. And you can check that out on YouTube. We also have a Facebook page. Instagram is not as active, but yeah, certainly all of our interviews are up on YouTube. You'll find it there, and on Facebook. And then for Change Agent South Africa is actually, I got involved with them through Aspiration Inspiration. Someone watched the videos and then they were like, oh, you should be on our board. And then, was on the board, and then I was the risk advisor, legal advisor. And then from there, they were like, oh, we need a chairperson. You should be our chairperson. And then, the board then elected me as the chairperson of Change Agent South Africa. And they're based out in Montague, in the Cape Winelands area. And we just it's an NPO that assists in capacity building when it comes to social change. We partner with various organizations and corporates to facilitate change in society, in the immediate Montague community. But our intention is also to expand into South Africa. And yeah, we assist there with feeding people, 500 to 800 people daily. Providing them with food packages through our sponsors. We're in the process of building a youth center, so that we can empower the youth of that community. There's a lot of unemployment, a lot of socioeconomic issues, and if people are keen and they have the funds and you'd like to get involved, or the time just to get involved with mentoring someone, or just reaching out to doing something for change in society, they can reach out to me either on LinkedIn, on Facebook. And I'm happy for you to also share my details with them if someone's interested, and reach out to me and see how we can facilitate change together through Change Agent South Africa. Check us out also on Facebook. And if you just do a Google search of Change Agents, you'll be able to find some information on about us there. And so yeah, that's a bit about what I do apart from Bowmans. Obviously at Bowmans I do banking and finance. I'm a banking and finance lawyer, so that's my trade. That's what I do. And yeah, that's a bit about that. So cool.
Yeah, that's amazing. This interview went by so quickly. There's so many more questions I would have loved to hear, but I think everyone who's listening to this has definitely learned something. I have, and I really love how you stick to your values and your beliefs and you don't change. And I think that's really great advice for everyone else as well who's going to be listening to this. And thank you once again for coming onto this podcast today and talking to us and the society at large. And I'm wishing you all the best for your career journey going forward. And thank you so much for giving back. Giving back food to 500 to 800 people daily is a massive thing. It's no small feat. So thank you once again. And I'm just wishing you all the best.
Thank you very much, and thanks so much for the interview, and yeah, just for making it as pleasant as it was. And like you say, time flies when you're having fun. So hopefully in the near future we can have another chat. Yeah, because we're constantly pursuing big things, right? So hopefully I'll be speaking to you in a different capacity very soon. But yeah, thank you very much for your time and for the interview, and I hope that the listeners also got some value out of it. And like I say, if anyone wants to get involved with some of the stuff that I'm involved with, you can check it out on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on all the social media platforms, and then just reach out to me. Just pop me a DM. I'm chilled, I'm easy like that. And then we can see how we can collaborate. But yeah, thank you very much.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode and that you learned something from it. Please remember that the InvestSoc's Executive Committee applications are closing this Saturday, the 2nd of September at 10 a.m. That the Children's Home Visit with Social Impact Portfolio is on Sunday, the 17th of September. The CEO at Yoko Speaker event is on the 12th of September at 6:15 in Snape. And that you can win an iPad if you attend the InvestSoc Speed Pitch Tournament, which is coming up next term. I hope to see you all next week. Bye!